So today we're going to be going over SMB and IIS configuration for Windows. So firstly, SMB stands for Server Message Block, and it's essentially a communication protocol for providing shared access to files, printers, and serial ports between nodes on a network. And it creates a connection between the server and the client and sends messages back and forth. SMB is useful because it allows you to share files and stuff between two computers with different operating systems. So if you had a Windows computer, you could share files with a Mac. Okay, so we're going to start with some basic configuration for SMB. So the first thing you should do is, so firstly, SMB has several different versions. There's SMB 1, 2, and 3. And we want to disable SMB v1 because it's unsafe and it's outdated. So to do this, okay, I'm gonna share my VM. Okay. Wait, can everyone see the VM? Okay. The presentation link is here. Okay, so to disable SMB, we can use PowerShell. So open up PowerShell as an administrator. And the command is disable dash Windows optional feature space dash online space dash feature name SMB1 protocol. And you can also use this command for other features. So you just have to replace SMB1 protocol with another feature that you want to enable or disable. So since I already have this configured, I won't need to restart my computer, but you will have to restart if it's not already configured. So we can also disable SMB v1 using the turn Windows features on or off feature in control panel. So to do that, you just type up turn Windows features on or off. And you have to find SMB1. And you see I have it unchecked. That means this feature's disabled on my computer. So you just have to uncheck that and press OK. Okay, so let's get into some more advanced SMB configuration. So to access this configuration, you have to open up PowerShell again. And to get the list of all the configurations, the command is get dash SMB server configuration. And you can see here, we have a list of all the configuration or all the settings for SMB. So you can see we have a bunch of different values. So the name is on the left side, and then the value that you set the setting to is on the right side. So let's say we want to change one of these. The exact command is set dash SMB server configuration. So the same thing as the previous command, but with set. Space dash and whatever setting name. So let's say we want to change encrypt data to true. We would do dash encrypt data and then put a $sign and then true. So let's do that. Set encrypt data true. And we have to put a $sign between the true or false values. That's just how it is. It's so like it doesn't, the computer doesn't mistake it as like just a normal word. And you'll see we have to like get this like confirmation thing. So to do that, we just like press yes. But for this, you can also do -force, which basically allows you to skip this step. So if we do this and then -force, I'm gonna change this back to false. You can see it skips everything, and if we run the get command again, you can see encrypt data is now false. So force basically allows you to skip the next process, but it might be a good idea to not put this to make sure like you're making the right change. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go over some best practices for these configurations. So one of the things you want to do is what I just did, which is set encrypt data to true, which makes like the messages more secure because they're being encrypted. So the name of it is encrypt data, and we're just gonna run this command, make it true. And that should do it. Another thing we want to do is to set the enable SMB1 protocol to false. So you can see that setting is right here. I already have it set to false, but I'm just going to show you how to do it. So set SMB server dash and then the name. So enable SMB1 protocol. And you want to set that to false because we don't want SMB1. And then yes. So now if we view our settings again, you can see we have the SMB1 like disabled, and we also have encrypt data as true. Okay. So now we're gonna do IIS. I'm gonna share my presentation again. My Chrome just crashed. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna share the presentation again. Can everyone see it now? Okay. So we were on IIS. So IIS stands for Internet Information Services. Usually we want to disable this service, but if it is like a critical service, then we should, if it's a critical service in the README, then we should configure it. So IIS basically like it's useful for configuring a web server that the computer's in control of. Okay, so in order to configure IIS, we need to enable all of the features that go along with it. So I'm going to show you how to do that on the VM. Okay, can everyone see? All right. So similarly to the SMB thing, we can use the turn Windows features on or off to like enable IIS. course, we also have to turn it on in the services tab, but if it's a critical service, you can probably assume that it's already been turned on. So there are a bunch of tools that IIS uses, and they're under these folders. I just usually like turn all of them on because like there's no harm in that. But if you want like specific tools, you have to check like the individual boxes. So everything that you need to check is under the IIS tab. And under that, you have the web management tools and World Wide Web services. You don't necessarily have to like check FTP server because we also usually disable that. So here are all the tools. If you expand the folder, you can see like these are all the tools. These you have to check these or else you won't be able to access them when you open up the IIS manager. And the IIS manager itself has to be, or you have to turn these on in order to access it itself. Okay, so now that after we turn all of those things on, we can open up the IIS or Internet Information Services Manager. So you should be able to find this now. If you did not turn them on, you won't actually find this app, which is why we need to turn them on. Okay, so this is what the IIS Manager looks like. On the left side, you can see we have the connections like tab, and these have a bunch of nodes with individual like sites and stuff. You can access specific servers, sites, etc. To view them, you just have to expand them like this. It's like a normal file system. And if you want to like configure a specific thing, you just have to click on it. Okay, in the middle is like the big portion where all our tools are. And this is called the features view. So most of the configuration is done here. So if you want to view like the rules associated with one of these tools, you just have to like click on it, and you can see all of the rules that are associated with that tool. If you want to like edit these, you can click on it, and then either like you can add a rule or yeah. So there are two types of rules. There's an allow rule and there's a deny rule. You can also edit some. So if you go into like another tool, you can edit it or you can enable it. And when you edit it, like a window should pop up and it should instruct you what to do next. Lastly, we have the actions tab. This isn't that important because you can usually just get all of the things when you right click on it, but it's there. Okay, so you can also edit these settings through the .config file, and that is found in System32. So its path is C drive, Windows, System32. iNet service, and in the config file, and it's this application host.config file. The first time you open it, you'll be prompted to like ask like which application you should open it in. You should open it in like the standard notepad file that Windows has, because that lets you actually edit it. Otherwise, it'll just create a copy of the file. So there's a lot of stuff here, but this is useful because you can see it like everything in one place. So let's say we want to edit something. So this setting right here that my cursor is on, this setting directly correlates to something in the IIS manager. So to get to that, you can see it's the application pools and it's in the default app pool. So that's right here. Yeah, right here. And the setting is the identity type. So if we go to advanced settings, that is this setting. And if we change it on here, it'll change it here. Or we can change it here and it'll like fix it on this side. So let's say we want to change it to local service. You just have to local service and then save the file. And then of course it won't like automatically put it on here. You have to restart IIS manager. So now if we go to that exact same setting again, you can see it's been changed through the text file. And this also works the other way around. Okay. And you also have to remember to restart this manager, otherwise like you won't be able to actually see what you just configured. Okay, so you might be asking, like, there are so many settings, and how do I know like what to configure? There are like a set of sys benchmarks for this, and I've linked it on the presentation. So I realized I haven't actually gone over how to like apply these sys benchmarks. So it's pretty simple. There's like a series for each sys benchmark. There's like an explanation for like what you're trying to do. And then there's usually some like PowerShell commands. So you can either do it through PowerShell or you can do it through the UI. Yeah, so it gives you a bunch of steps. Wait, I should probably share this. So these sys benchmarks are pretty useful for like everything that you're trying to configure. So let's say we want to configure what we just configured. I'm pretty sure it's this. So you can see it has like a description of what you're actually configuring if you're interested, and a reason why. And it tells you exactly how to do it. So just follow the steps. So open IIS Manager, and then open the application pools node, select whatever you want to change, go to advanced settings, and then locate the identity option, which is what we just did. So there's also this PowerShell commands. This usually comes with every setting. Yeah, so to apply these, you kind of have to do it manually. It looks pretty long, but it's really not, because there's like 3 pages for each setting. Okay, so now I'm going to go over a few examples of what you might want to configure. Okay, so we're on our VM again. And the first example is we're going to configure application pool identity for all of these. And you can see all of them right now are on local service. Essentially what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to make all of these into application pool identity. So I'm just going to do this again. You go to advanced settings, you select this, and that should do it for the first example. I don't want to bore you with doing all of these, but you should do those. The second example is to select application pool identity for anonymous user identity. So to do that, you can go to whatever you want to configure. So let's choose like the default website. And if you go to authentication, which is this like tab, you have to choose the anonymous authentication setting and edit it. And you have to select application pool identity. Okay, so those were some examples of what you might want to configure. And that's it for the presentation. There's not a lot else to like go over. It's just a matter of following the sys benchmarks and applying those to everything. Okay, so does anyone have any questions?
So I know you like went through like SMB and IIS for this like presentation. So if there were other critical services in like round, how would we know like how to configure those and their like specific settings?
Okay, so of course there are like a few like specific services that might be important. So of course we have IIS and SMB. There's also like services like remote desktop that you probably want to study. But in the round, if you have like no idea of how to configure that specific setting or a service, the best thing to do is just to Google it and you might be able to find like some sys benchmarks or something, but just be like familiar with how to configure these different services. All right, any other questions?
Do you know any like good Windows 10 practice virtual machines that we could do until the next round?
There are some like scattered around the internet. Like there's a Cyber Patriot Discord somewhere, and they usually like post some pretty good VMs that you can download and run. And those also have scoring machines, so you can know like if you can like actually like test out like what you're doing. But some of the best practice you can get is just opening up like a blank VM and then like exploring like all of the different settings and applications on there.
I don't have access to Discord, so could you like send like a virtual machine, like a link to it in the chat? That would be like
I
really
don't
helpful.
I don't have one on me, but you could I could send one like next time. Yeah, someone just posted a link to the Discord.
I had a question. How do you set up Windows Hello? Like there was a weird part on one of the competitions, and it
Okay.
wanted me.
I don't think we configure that. If you're supposed to configure that, we didn't do it. But I think it's just warning you to like not disable it.
Well, that was one of the things they wanted you to do. If it was disabled, it would be like undisabled, I guess. Or how do you set it up?
Okay, I don't know this, but there's probably like some policies and group policy that relate specifically to Windows Hello. So if you find those, you should probably configure those settings. Um, I don't know if it's under any like features, but if there are, you should configure those as well. And again, if you like don't know how to do something, you could just Google it. Um, that's like a Google is a great resource for Cyber Patriot. Yep.
So during round two, I don't know if like there were like so in Windows 10, like every single time we restarted our image, like the audit settings reset. So like could you like kind of go over how to fix that? Because like I was kind of
Okay.
confused.
I'm not gonna go over anything like that specific, but the reason like the audit policies might have reset is because the advanced audit policies are already like pre-configured, and those force over like the normal audit policies you see under security policies. So if you go to GP edit, okay, you can still see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, so if you go to, I believe it's, yeah, if you go to security settings, you can see there's an advanced audit policy configuration. And to go over those, you can see I already have them configured. These you can, of course, just find on sys benchmarks. But if you look at my normal audit policies, you can see like all of them. It says it says no auditing, but that's because they're already configured in these. So you just have to make sure like the advanced policies are configured. So if you configure these, and then you configure these, like this is gonna override it and like force these specific settings because these are more specific. That's why they're called advanced audit policy configurations. Yeah, you can also just do success and failure for everything. That technically works.
I actually went into advanced audit policy, like, and I like for some of them, like I don't think you can do success and failure for like some of the specific ones. So, or I'm just being really, I'm just being stupid.
Can you explain what you mean? Like,
Yeah, so like I went into the like the specific ones and I tried like to configure them so that they weren't like overriding, but like I went in and they like I configured some of them and I still lost points. So I was like kind of like I put success and failure and I still lost points.
wait, did you do it for like the more general ones or this like the
specific ones in advanced?
I don't know what to tell you. If you put success and failure for everything, like it shouldn't say like you're missing something. You probably missed like I don't know like one, because if you don't have the advanced ones configured and you go directly and like change these and you go and change these again, you'll lose points for like a brief period, but then they should come back. At least that's what I've experienced. Does anyone have any other questions?
Are the blank images also on the Discord?
I'm sure they probably have some, but for like blank images, you just like search up like Windows 10 blank VM. Sometimes they're available, sometimes they're not. So you just have to like try to find one. I'm pretty sure the Discord has some. Okay, if no one has any other questions, I guess we're done.